Okay, I have gotten the Oracle VirtualBox, and I've gotten my software, my Server 2019, and I actually made a copy of it and renamed it Server 2019 Eval X64, and then the date 1/1/2021, because I never can make out all this stuff. So I made a copy of it with a better name. That way I can remember it better. Alright, let's start up my Oracle VirtualBox here like this, and let's go ahead and start this installation. I'm just going to click New here, and I'm going to call this Server 2019 Eval, and then X64 to remind myself that it is a 64-bit. And I want this to be, well, I have a place for my virtual machine, so I'm going to click Other, and I want this to be, a virtual machine is really just a folder on our hard drive that the virtualization software thinks is a drive. It actually thinks it's a separate drive, and so I want this to be in, let's see, I want it to be in my eDrive virtual machines. This happens to be a very large drive, so that's where I'm going to put it. It always takes a little while for it to spin up when I first spin it up, because it's actually an extremely large drive. So it takes a moment for it to click in. It will in a minute. There we go. Virtual machines. And I'm going to put this, well, I'm going to put this under Masters. VirtualBox. Server 2016. No, I want this to be Server. I'm going to make a new folder and call it Server 2019, because I don't have a Server 2019 yet. So that's where I'll put this one. And it looks like my picture's in the way here, so I can't select that. Alright, that's where I'm going to put this thing. It is a Microsoft Windows, and it's a Server Windows 2019. I'll click Next. And I have quite a bit of memory on this machine, so I'm going to go ahead and give it 4 gigabytes. And I do want it to go ahead and create a virtual hard disk now. In other words, it's a big file on this disk that will be a hard disk. I'll go ahead and say create. VDI is the preferred type for VirtualBox. VHD would be the preferred type for Hyper-V in Windows, and then VMDK would be the preferred type if this were a VMware. So I want the VDI. I want dynamically allocated, that way it will only use as much space as it needs. And 50 gigabytes is fine for that. And then let's see, it looks like it wants to make a folder within a folder here. I don't need a double folder, so let's get rid of that. There we go. Alright, that looks good. And then create. Now, one more thing I'm going to do before I let this thing take off. I'm going to go to Settings and down to System and over to Processor, and I'm going to give it actually 4 cores instead of 1 core, because I actually have a 32 core system here. So it will run a lot faster if I give it 4 cores of my CPU. I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and now I'm going to go ahead and start this machine up and let it begin the installation. And there goes my installation. It needs to know where where this thing is here, and it's on my desktop. So I need to go ahead and tell it where it is. So I'm going to add this from my desktop, and let's get this up again where we can see this thing, where my picture's not in the way. So I'll say desktop, virtual VM desktop. Okay, why did it not like that? It's D desktop. Virtual VMs file not found. Oh, because I didn't tell it exactly where the ISO was. That's why I told it desktop, but I didn't tell where the ISO was. I need to do that. There, choose that. And now I can start it, and now it should take off. And here goes the installation, and it's on its way. All right, we will just let this thing cook here for a little while. And I will go ahead and pause the video, and we'll come back whenever I need to click on something so that we can follow the progress. Okay, just like any Windows installation, it needs to know what language, what currency format, English, a US keyboard, and I'll click Next. It wants to know whether I want to repair this installation or install now. I'll say Install Now. I have some options now that came up. These two options, I can have standard or data center. Now, standard is for a moderate sized business. Data center are for very, very large businesses. These would be the international businesses. I'm not going to put on data center. I'm going to go ahead with a standard. You also notice I have desktop experience and then just standard evaluation. Desktop experience is the GUI type installation that you're used to seeing in Windows. If I just choose the standard evaluation, then what I'm getting is Server Core, and it is a no graphics at all. It's all command line, and it is much, much faster, much smaller installation, much more secure installation, but much harder to use. We are going to go ahead with the graphical user interface, so I do want the desktop experience in this case. We'll show you Server Core later on in the course. I'll accept the license agreement. And here, if I'm going to upgrade, in other words, I want to keep my files and settings and my applications. Let's say I'm coming from Server 2016 or 2012, then I would choose this option. That is not as common in servers, by the way. You're more likely to do that with regular client Windows, not so much with servers, not so often with servers. In our case, we're just going to do a clean install, so we will choose Custom Installation and click Next. The screen you're looking at right now is not the installation that we were just looking at. This is a different installation. I wanted to show you what happens if we choose the upgrade installation. It just says the upgrade installation option isn't available if you start the computer using Windows Installation Media. If a copy of Windows is already installed on this computer and you want to upgrade, remove the installation media and restart your computer. After Windows has started normally, insert the installation media and run Windows Setup. So in other words, in order to upgrade, you have to have Windows already running, and then you can start this media. So I'm going to click Install Now on this one. And just for fun, the other thing I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to go ahead and install the Server Core version, and so that we can later on we'll take a look at the Server Core version and see what that looks like. We'll take a look at that one after we go ahead and install our other version that we were already working on. Our Server Core version looks like it's ready for some attention. It says the user's password must be changed before signing in. I'll go ahead and click OK, and it wants a new password, so I'll give it a password. And it wants me to confirm that password. Let's see if I can get to the right spot there. Let me see. Oh, I think I needed to type a tab there. There we go. Your password has been changed. Okay, and I'll just click OK there. And here we are. We now have our Server Core running. And this is it. This is what you get. You can use PowerShell. And I'm running PowerShell now, and this is pretty much how you run Server Core. You don't use any kind of GUI in this. So we're still waiting for our other one to our regular installation to run. You can see that Server Core is much faster. So we'll hang around now until our regular desktop experience one gets going. Okay, it looks like our machine is coming up now. We're getting this virtual box information thing that says that the right control button, and this is important to know, by the way, that the right control button on our keyboard is what we can use to capture and uncapture this cursor when it's inside this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and say do not show this thing again, and click that. When it comes to the passwords on these virtual machines, I would use something simple that you're not going to forget. After all, this is not, you don't really need to secure this thing. This isn't rocket science here. So on these virtual machines that are just for testing, I usually use something like capital PASSW and then a 0 RD. That satisfies the complexity requirements. So it's PASSW0RD with a capital P in it. And that should be sufficient to for an administrative password on these things. And there we have it. Here's our Server 2019. Control-Alt-Delete to unlock. In order to do that, see, I can't get up in here to do this, so I'm going to tap the control key, the right-hand control key on my keyboard, and that should allow me to get up in here. It doesn't allow me to get up in there. Why not? It's supposed to allow me to get up there. Okay, that's unusual. See, if I do Control-Alt-Delete here, that gives me my home computer's task. There we go. It did allow me to get up here. I need to get over here to the input and then keyboard and then Control-Alt-Delete. And that should allow me then to log in. So there's my PASSW0RD, and then that should allow me into this. I don't know why it was not letting me into there, but I did a Control-Alt-Delete and then tapped in here again, and then it did let me up there. But normally that right control key does allow you into that. And here it is. Now we should go into it should automatically call up a server manager, and there it is. It brings that up automatically. It also brings up this network dialog box. And this is all normal for it to bring this stuff up. There's some Oracle VM VirtualBox, and here's our server manager. And I will go ahead and close this virtual manager thing. And here is our server manager. This is so that you can set up things like the roles that you want to add. A server is much like a big blank slate where you can add the roles that you want it to be. Do I want this to be a domain controller, a print server, or a remote server? What kind of server do I want this to be? And so you just start adding the roles and the features that you want this thing to be. Do I want it to be a web server? What kind of server is this server going to be?